What's next on the agenda?
Commission will now take up the matter to do with an application by Healthy Food Corporation, doing business as Frozert Tramdang representative for premises at 1235 Bridge Street. Request for 2 licenses for automatic amusement device, one being skee ball, the other being crane. Both machines have Massachusetts approval numbers.
Okay. Introduce yourself for the record.
Tramdang.
Okay. Tram, how long have you been in business on Bridge Street?
This August will be a year.
Great. Everything's going well?
Perfect. Thank you for asking.
So you're gonna add a skee ball machine and a crane machine?
Yeah.
All right.
Please.
Sounds like fun.
No questions.
No.
No questions.
No? All right.
Move that we approve.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved.
That's it.
That's it.
All right. Thank you very much.
You can come in and see me tomorrow if you like.
Okay. Thank you very much. You guys have a wonderful day. It's nice out there.
And now, I'll make a motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Sox are up 2-0.
Before that, they had this at 6:30. Then the public hearing. Hello, Rita. Rita. They got plenty right here. 5 cents a piece. Big and make money.
There we go.
Don't have a drink when they go to Hopkins. Take all you want.
Hey, welcome to the Thursday, April 25th, 2013 meeting of the City of Lowell License Commission. relative to a public hearing on the revised alcohol beverages regulations for licenses issued by the Lowell License Commission. Just by way of background, I just wanted to go over a little bit of information just for some people that are aware and some people that are unaware, how this process came about. The License Commission under Massachusetts general laws is appointed or is created to be a quasi-judicial board to create rules and regulations for the city of Lowell, to enforce Massachusetts general laws, and to enforce the regulations promulgated by the Attorney General. And being created by statute, the License Commission has what is known as quasi-judicial power, which in essence means that we're to be an independent body. There's a reason why there are 6-year appointments here on the License Commission. There's a reason why there's diverse political party representation. The License Commission is meant to be an independent body. We are to take into consideration all sides of an issue. We're to take the input of the City of Lowell City Council. We're to take the input of the City of Lowell Law Department. We're to take the input of the City of Lowell Police Department. We're to take the input of the City of Lowell license holders, and most importantly, we're to take the input of the City of Lowell residents. And that's what this board is to do. We're to take in the thoughts and feelings of each and every stakeholder, what ideas they have, what feelings they have, and weigh all of them and come up with a decision that these 3 individuals up here think is appropriate. So, I know that people feel very strongly relative to these regulations. I know the City Council feels strongly, I know the bar owners feel strongly, and I know the residents feel strongly. But, it really comes down to the 3 individuals sitting up here to make a decision that we think is what's best for the City of Lowell license holders. And it may not be correct, it may be correct, but I can tell you that all 3 of us take this very seriously, and we have all sat through numerous meetings. We've talked to different individuals, and we've talked to all the stakeholders involved, and I think we have a firm grasp of the issue. And all I can say is that, at least speaking for me, I'm going to make the decision that I think is best for the City of Lowell as a whole, not just for the bar owners, not just for the residents, not just for the city councilors, not just for the police department, but for everyone as a whole, weighing all the factors. And I think that's the approach that the other 2 commissioners will take. I know there's been some discussion about how this new draft of the regulations came to fruition. In February of 2012, there was an unfortunate incident at Fortunato's restaurant. The City Council, or the Law Department, along with the Lowell Police, came up with a set of regulations that they thought would be a good starting point to have the City of Lowell adopt. There was many hearings between February of 2012 and July of 2012, and there were input given from both sides, and in July, there went to be a vote on these new regulations, and it just died for numerous reasons. But with the appointment of Commissioner Krieger and Commissioner Delaney, we decided to, as a group, to address these regulations again. And what we did was have public hearings. And I know, I heard one individual say this week that they were unaware of these meetings that we had. Well, I'll show you right here that we have 5 separate agendas from the License Commission. one for January 31st, 2013, one for February 14th, 2013, one for February 28th, 2013, one for March 14th, 2013, and one for March 28th, 2013. And on all of these agendas that were properly filed with the city clerk of the city of Lowell, that were posted on the City of Lowell website, that were in full compliance with the open meeting law of the state of Massachusetts, the three of us, the law department, the police department, one particular bar owner that was here all the meetings, and residents, a city councilor, were at these meetings. And we had 5 public hearings right in this room. They weren't done in executive session. They weren't done in a back room somewhere. They were right here, right in the open for everyone to come in and give their input. And we did have people come in and give their input. And we started from section 1.01, and we went section by section by section all the way through till the end of these rules and regulations that I've presented. And it took a considerable amount of time. So I just want to set the record straight that this process was done in an open, fair, no deals, none of that stuff. This was done right out in the open, and it took input of everyone that was here and that were involved. So after those 5 meetings, and some of them were very lengthy in time, we proposed these rules and regulations. And as a group, we decided to, we could have voted these rules and regulations in at any time during those meetings, but we thought, well, we'll send out one last notice just so everyone's aware as to what is going on. And we published this notice, and that's what we're here for tonight. And I guess in terms of the way I was thinking about proceeding with this meeting tonight is the 3 of us have gone over these regulations, and this is the draft we have. Obviously, there are going to be some comments and concerns about this draft, and I guess my plan is just to open it up to anyone who would like to speak. I don't intend to put any time limit on anybody, but as you can see, there are numerous people here. So if anyone who wants to comment as to the regulations as a whole, a particular section of the regulations, whether for or against, we invite you to come to the podium, introduce yourself, and say your piece. And I can assure you that if you were here back in last July, the same process went through and an outcome was different than what we thought was going to happen, and I'm sure it could happen tonight again. So everyone is wide open to hear everyone's thoughts, and if we put our heads together, I'm sure we'll come up with a compromise that's agreeable to all the stakeholders involved. So with that, if any Commissioner Krieger or Commissioner Delaney would like to say anything to start?
No, just that I agree wholeheartedly with the chairman, and we put a lot of time and energy into this, and we ultimately want to satisfy all parties that the chairman had mentioned, and we're open to any input, good or bad, from anyone here tonight, and we hope the meeting goes well.
Yeah, and I agree with the comments of the chairman and my fellow commissioner.
So if there's anyone that wants to take the podium.
Thank you very much, and good evening, members of the License Commission. For the record, my name is Rita Mercier, and I am speaking to you this evening as a resident of the city of Lowell. Let me reiterate what I previously said when I visited you and spoke the last time. Thank you for all the hours that you put into this commission and the difficult decisions that you make. We truly do appreciate all the hard work and commitment that each of you have to give to the city of Lowell. In this world, we realize that society functions properly when there are rules in place, so we know you need rules. In this particular instance, this body, the License Commission members, are reestablishing rules or shoring them up in the wake of the incident that has taken place last year. I realize that as License Commissioners, you have the final say. I am merely here offering a suggestion and opinion. I suppose I could have attended a previous rule change hearing. I know that you held 5 of them. I was only here for one particular issue, and I thank you for voting in favor of amending your fees for the veterans clubs. But I was waiting for the final draft to see what the intentions of the commission was. That's why I didn't speak on any of that. I was hoping that the draft rules would outline what to expect for individual bars and clubs that cannot control their establishment. Then the rules would state that if you cannot manage the crowd or you violate the rules, we will limit your hours of operation, place restrictions, make modifications such as the following that would be stated in the rules. I do not believe that everyone should be punished for the sake of a few. Therefore, I would support in lieu of a waiver, as I suspected to see it inserted, but I did not, that under Section 3, called special conditions, bars and clubs be given consideration for those that follow the law. I would just like to see fairness in the final product. Thank you for allowing me to voice my opinion. I also do know that the downtown is shared by a large neighborhood, all the residents that live down there, so it's not strictly that I'm here in favor of the bars, but I know and I believe that they can get along together in harmony, that you have to have rules. But as I say, you shouldn't have to put a blanket to punish those that didn't do any harm. But I do say, and I firmly agree with residents, that if there are those bars that are not willing to step up and follow the rules and make a decent neighbor of themselves and their business, then the neighbors have a right to complain. So I give you a tough decision that is in front of you this evening. I would hope that you wouldn't support this draft right away, but take time to go over it and listen to everything that everybody said. Thank you for allowing me to be here. I will give my seat to anybody else that wants to come down. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Marty Laurie. I live at 93 West Wind Road. First of all, I'd like to thank the License Commission. This is the 5th public meeting.
Sixth.
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 A lot of work. You've done a lot of work. And I'm glad you did a little bit of the history. This has been in the making for about a year. So 6 meetings is something we can be very grateful for. I just had a few questions. And again, if you look back at the history, which you went over briefly, this started probably in February of 2012. And since that, there's been changes. There's been changes on the board. There's been the, I think the incident, the bar where the incident brought this to a head is obviously now gone. There's been changes in personnel and changes on the board. So I think now we're with the fresh start, we can start looking ahead. One of the questions I had was on patron hours, and that was not to allow anyone in after 1 hour. When we first discussed this, I thought there would be waivers, and this is the previous speaker said, is putting a wide brush over everybody here in the city, regardless of the size of the nightclub, the size of the bar, where it's in whoever owns the license, restaurants. It's put a wide brush over everybody, and I don't know if that's particularly fair or would be helpful. The other question I had was on entertainment. It says entertainment has to be shut down 45 minutes prior to closing, but I didn't really see how entertainment was defined. Is that TV, is that jukeboxes? You know, I think that this, if we go back, this first incident happened, and it was a DJ, I believe, at that situation. And so I know there was talks to regulate maybe the entertainment coming down, and again, that's something I think you could be looked at, and I would, support. But there was one other question I had besides the entry hours, and that was 4.02 hours of operations. It talks about the hours Monday through Friday, and it closes whether at 11 o'clock or 2. And then it says, after 11 p.m., all patrons are off the premises before closing time. I find that one sentence completely confusing. I had some calls, I've talked to some people who now look and say, is that 11 o'clock closing time for everybody? I don't believe the intent is for an 11 o'clock closing time, but, if that could be deleted or looked at. And, but that was it, just the 1 o'clock. I thought it was really a widespread, regardless of the size of the establishments. What is the entertainment that we're really trying to narrow down? And finally, as we move on, is how these rules are enforced. And as the last speaker said, I would ask that you work very closely with the police department. I keep on hearing we have good establishments in the city, and I really do believe we do. But if someone is really violating the law and the police department is having a hard time, I also request that we look at stronger regulations for those organizations who can't abide by the rules that you're trying to put forth tonight. And again, thank you for the 6 public meetings. Thank you for your service. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Anne Marie Page. I reside at 26 Fremont Street in Lowell, and I am the president of the Citywide Neighborhood Council. We, the neighborhood leaders, understand your position, and we do not envy you as the License Commission. You're sort of like sitting in a King Solomon. 2 mothers, 1 baby. It's not working. You have a duty to the business owners, people that have had an establishment and a good, respectable business in this city for many years and have caused no trouble. And you have a duty to the citizens of Lowell, especially now where we're expanding downtown and we have condos and people living in the city, and we're getting known as a little mini Boston. All the more reason to have order. So that duty to the citizens of Lowell means that they can live in order, peace, and tranquility. So to the neighborhoods, and downtown is a neighborhood, it's all about the quality of life. It seems so unfair to punish all for the sins of a few. These few do not seek a compromise. And I understand that there are a few of the downtown establishments that have brought a compromise to the table. Closed their doors to new patrons at 1:30 rather than 2 a.m. We compliment them for trying to make a compromise. It seems the problem here is all about enforcement. These are the rules and regulations here in Lowell, and you must abide by them. We understand that the majority of establishments do not cause any problems. But you have repeat complaints and issues with a few, shall we say, no-name establishments. Rules and regulations are how we have order in our lives. That is why we're all sitting here tonight instead of sitting in a jail cell, because we followed the rules and the regulations, sort of like God, Moses, and the 10 Commandments. He didn't say, look, I got 10, pick 2 you like. These are the rules, these are the regulations. You are to follow all of them. Civilized people live by rules, but these rules need to be enforced. So if you cannot get these trouble spots to cooperate and follow the rules and regulations, then they have to suffer the consequences. Send the message to their wallets. You break the rules in Lowell, we shut you down on a weekend. The entire weekend. We are trying to sell Lowell to developers, and downtown with its condos is like a mini Boston. How many developers and how many buyers do you think will want to come here if every weekend it looks like a riot squad training camp in downtown Lowell at 2 a.m.? If you want to preserve the integrity of this city, then we need more enforcement against those that think they are untouchable and that these rules and regulations do not apply to them. We are asking you tonight to create rules and regulations, but most of all, to enforce them. Hopefully, you can find a common thread. Thank you for your dedication to the City of Lowell. We are counting on you. Please don't let us down. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Edward Kennedy, 312 Clark Road, Lowell. I'll try to be as brief as I can. I've had an opportunity to look at the provisions that are before the board, and by and large, I'm in agreement with those provisions with 2 exceptions. And so I would just ask that the board consider the motion that was passed by the City Council Tuesday night and incorporate that into the provisions, which just takes 2 of the general provisions and moves them to special provisions. I think for those of us who have been involved in this issue for a long, long time, it started out with just 3 bars. There were 3 trouble bars downtown. It was never meant to provide or to create a hardship for other business owners. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nick Petrakis. I'm the proprietor of the Blue Shamrock and also a resident of Lowell at 43 Staple Street. I'm sure a lot of you are tired of seeing me. I did attend all those meetings and stuff. I just want to say that, first off, I don't think everyone's on 2 sides, the businesses and the residents. I agreed with everything that fine woman, I'm sorry I didn't catch the name, but I agreed with everything she said. I just want to point out a couple things. Obviously, I'm here, to no one's surprise, to speak against the regulations as they stand now. And as briefly as I can, there's a couple points I want to make. The first one is, I know it's been said a lot that people are flooding into Lowell at the last minute, and then sometimes you read in the paper that there's somebody who's been involved in an altercation, and they're from out of town. Well, we get a lot of people from out of town being a destination city, which we want to be. Most of the places around us do have 2 o'clock closing times, not 1 o'clock. Tingsboro's 2 o'clock, Drake's 2 o'clock, Chelmsford has 2 o'clock. We also compete with the city of Boston. Anybody who's in the hospitality business, or the restaurant business, or the pub business, or club business, knows that we compete with Boston because, I mean, ask Chancellor Marty Meehan how the Tsonga Center competes with venues of similar size, or the auditorium with like venues. And now they're going to have casinos, so whether you're a proponent of gambling or not, they're going to have that extra allure and all those restaurants and clubs under one roof, which state of the art, which will be able to draw people. Even now, numerous customers will say, well, we're heading to Boston. This will hamper us even more. New Hampshire, which long has been 1 o'clock, well, 2 o'clock, but they have to shut their entertainment off at 1:15 and stuff. They're going to 2 o'clock. The state of New Hampshire is going to 2 o'clock. I'm sure everybody knows, it's been publicized. And they have the extra allure of happy hour, 2 for 1. And I'm not a proponent of that at all, but it is an allure, especially in this economy. So we're competing with all these places. I also think that it's not recognized enough that there is a lot of good that all the establishments do. Not just my establishments, but all the establishments. Charities, big and small, some that goes under the radar. People want to have a benefit for a wheelchair or something. National causes like muscular dystrophy or mental retardation, Toys for Tots, Sun Santa Fund. We contribute a lot to the economy. And we contribute a lot with the tax base too, from everything. Also, we do a lot of business with other businessmen in the community. I know that most of us get our provisions from local places like Lowell Provision, our paints from Harmon's, our janitorial supplies from local places like Lowell Janitorial, our electrical stuff from McKittrick's, cups from Rosenblum's. They're all against these new provisions because they know that it will be detrimental to us. So, pointing all those things out, I think the last thing that goes hand in hand with this is it's going to be devastating to not just the owners. We're the face of the places, but bartenders and wait staff and maitre d's, bus boys, cooks. This is not fun money for them. This is their livelihood. I mean, there would have been more people here, but, you know, there's single mothers and single fathers that couldn't be here. There's people that we have employed for us that are going to night school. This is how they make their living. This is how they pay their rent bills, their car payments. It's not an extra job for them. It's their only means of employment. So I know that Commissioner Krieger, the board as a whole recommended, you know, let's look at this at 8 months. You know, I live week to week, day to day. That's like me hanging from a rope that's frayed and saying, you know, we'll come back and check on you. I mean, I don't mean to be dramatic, but I am being dramatic because that's how much this means to me. So, I mean, if we're going to look at this at 8 months, let's keep things the way they are. You people are already empowered by both the state and the city. You can take my license away. You can close my hours of operation. You can roll them back based on recommendations from the police force. And I think if we are going to make a compromise, it shouldn't be off the cuff. We should, you know, form a committee or something, whatever, that works with the commissioners, maybe some city councilors. I don't know what the exact political process would be. A subcommittee to meet with you that maybe a couple of the owners could be on it, some downtown residents could be on it, obviously. There'd be a strong presence from the police force. And we could talk about compromises at length that would be feasible to both of us. Because if you pass these the way they are now, I don't know, I mean, desperate times call for desperate measures. What am I going to do? I mean, I've already looked into alternatives. I don't want to have a rock and roll breakfast at 8 o'clock in the morning with stuff, which is what people are suggesting to me. You know, I know people are smiling, but they're telling me, I don't know how I'm going to make ends meet. But if you push someone and they got to feed their families, which it comes down to for me, that's what it really comes down to, feeding my family. I'm open all week long. How am I going to compete turning my music off, my karaoke off at 1:15 when other places in Drake and Tingsboro are going right to 20 of? The places that have been around for a while, and even the new places where the managers take courses, we know if there's 20 people that you don't behave like you do if there's 80 people or 140 people. If there's a problem, you guys can handle it. So I'm glad that you guys are keeping an open mind. Obviously, the city council, by their 9-0 vote, they've heard from everybody from across the city. They don't just represent downtown, they represent everyone within the borders of Lowell, and they've heard from all their constituents. I've heard from my neighbors, and I'm not talking about neighbors, businessmen, my neighbors, residents who come over and sit outside or come inside and sing karaoke, that they're not in favor of these, so I don't really know who is in favor of these. I'm sure there is a small minority, and I'm sure their points are valid, so I'm not dismissing them. But I don't think we should just pass these the way they are, because it would destroy me, and I know it would destroy a lot of other people in here. So thank you. This comes from the heart, and this also comes from the heart. God bless you all.
Good evening. John Frazier, J.J. Boomis of Lowell Incorporated, 705 to 727 Pawtucket Boulevard. Thank you for being here this evening and giving us the opportunity to speak. A lot, excuse me, what I intend to say pretty much mirrors what you've already heard. I'll try to define it so it more specifically talks about our own business. First, I did want to apologize to the commissioners for our lack of attendance at the 5 public hearings that you had. It's our own ignorance that we were unaware these hearings were taking place. I don't want our lack of attendance to suggest at all any inference of interest in what was taking place at those hearings. But I do thank you for the letter that we received from April the 5th advising us of tonight's meeting. Also here with me tonight, where this is principally a beverage issue, our lounge manager, Bernadette Hopper, has accompanied me also, also suggesting how sincerely we take the concerns for public safety. Now, I'll speak as I understand, and I know one of the councilors mentioned that some of the language is a little confusing. I know to yourselves it makes absolute sense. You drafted it, and you're in a position where this is what you would know. So if I do speak and I'm not accurate on one of your topics, I apologize for that. We've been in the city now for about 14 years, and we do consider ourselves to be a good neighbor. Unlike those, excuse me, a few in question that are a downtown interest, we're actually on the outskirts of the boulevard heading towards Tingsboro over to the Drake corner. To focus it on ourselves, our building, we have a capacity of approximately 271. In the first quarter of this year, we processed over 18,000 individual orders. That suggests the volume of patrons that we have. Of course, we're not hitting 271 people, even on our best day, even on St. Patrick's Day. I wish we did. Life would be a lot easier. We maintain on the weekends, not from necessity, but from just an abundance of caution, a door staff of 2 to 3 gentlemen, securing identifications, looking at levels of intoxication, etc. This gives us a great deal of peace of mind. One of our obligations back to the community and in the realm of public safety is that if there is an activity that warrants it, that we pick up the phone and we call the service necessary. Over the course of the last year, to my recollection, of the calls for lockouts, we had one call, someone had a pit bull running around the parking lot, motor vehicle accidents at the corner of Ferry Road. To my recollection, and this can be verified with the police department, only 3 of the calls for service, possibly 4, were for tumultuous activity. So with a building our size and a capacity our size, we feel that with the minimal amount of negative calls for service, that we're probably doing a fairly good job of it. Which, I mean, to sum it up, we're not a trouble spot. Some of the things that we attempt to do to curb incidents with alcohol relations is on the weekend evenings. We're bearing the expense of keeping our kitchen open until midnight. We do a special menu from 10 until midnight, where 11 out of the 18 items on that menu range between $3 and $5. So it's really not a money producer, but it's a courtesy to our guests, and any opportunity that you have to present an alcoholic beverage to a guest in conjunction with a food service, I think is complimentary to both the city and our guests. Along with the general operation of a food and beverage environment, we host a large number of bridal showers, baby showers, birthday parties, corporate events. We're very family friendly. On a very boring statistical side of things, we have 52 employees, majority of which we are their sole source of income. We are their employer. We had a payroll in 2012, including the reported tip revenue, in excess of $500,000. So when I address the commissioners, it is focusing specifically on my 52 employees, on our building and our business. I was going to get into some very dry topics of the revenues that we channel into the state, meals taxes, the city, fees, inspections, water, sewer, but that really isn't the crux of why we're all here tonight. We're here to protect our employees and to keep the integrity of our business going. One of the things that I might be unclear on, but I did want to speak, and feel free to stop me if I'm incorrect. It's my understanding from what our published closing times are that we are to stop entrance to the building 1 hour before. On a weeknight, that would mean if it's a little slow and we're anticipating closing at midnight, then we would close our doors at 11 o'clock and not allow entrance or re-entrance. If it was a better night, we planned on closing at 1, we would stop at 12. The concerns there for us personally...
I'll just stop you there for a
Yes.
second. The way the closing time is defined in the regulations is whatever time's in your license. So if you have a license through 2 a.m., the entry and re-entry would be 1 a.m. So if you wanted to close at midnight, you could let people in at 5 of 12 if you wanted to.
Oh, good.
It's whatever the license closing time is, which in your case, I'm assuming, well, you have a 2 a.m.
We have a
license.
2 a.m. license.
So it would be 1 a.m.
Wonderful. Thank you for
Under the proposed draft.
Thank you for the clarification on that. It just saved you listening to about 5 more minutes on this page. So there you go. Ourselves, we operate as Nick said, and most people know the food and beverage industry, people think it's very glamorous to own a bar, that we're all taking money out in wheelbarrows. We're really not. The bulk of our gross operating profit occurs from beverage service, not from food service. Food service garners about 10 to 15%. Beverage service can garner as much as 75%. First quarter of 2013, 16.6% of our total sales occurred between 10 p.m. and closing, which of course are our most profitable hours of the day. If that is encroached on at all, or if we lose some of our customer base, whether they're second shift people coming in from Lowell General, we get some workers from the restaurants on the Daniel Webster Highway coming down from Nashua, locally, some of the boards after their meetings pop in. If we start to lose some of that, or if it's eaten away at all, that can have a ripple effect over into our staffing. Our sincerest goal.
Like, can I just ask you a question?
Yes.
What percentage of your patrons come in between the hours of 1 and 2 a.m.?
And I have it, and I can tell you exactly. I looked at it this afternoon.
Not purchase something between 1 and 2, but actually come into the building between 1 and 2.
If I was to say actually come in between 1 and 2, I would say between 1.5% and 2%.
So it's a very, very small percentage.
It is a small percentage. My concern would be, though, as far as a few things that would occur. We're going to be stopping entertainment earlier, shutting the television sets off earlier. If someone went outside to smoke, they're not coming back in. If someone forgot something in their car, they're not coming back in. So the public can be very fickle into what's going to be comfortable for them. And if they think that they're not going to have as complete of an experience with us, we're very close to a couple of other towns and the state line, that can be their ultimate destination if they are coming out at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. Another topic that I did want to bring up, I do know, and it was just reiterated, that there's going to be a review, or you're planning on a review 8 months after whatever you decide is the final determination. If there is a negative impact on the business, 8 months from now is going to incorporate our summer season, the fall when the students are coming back to Lowell, and very importantly, the holiday season with those folks out for their holiday cheer, their little office parties and get-togethers. So at that point, there would be some damage done that it will hurt. I mean, it will hurt. I'll sum it up and just say, we consider ourselves to be very friendly to the city, very compliant to public safety, Lowell Fire and Police. We consider ourselves to be a great neighbor, and in the end result, we want to protect the hours and shifts of our 52 employees to the best we can. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bob Ramirez from the back page. 3 years ago, I was enticed to invest in the city, and open up this business, and you guys had the loan that the city offers and all that, and it just seems like what you're talking about now is like pulling the rug out from underneath me. I have to, we have loans to pay, and this talk, my business is later on in the evening, and it goes to 2 in the morning, and you've had no complaints from us, and our area down there is, we're on our own pretty much. We don't have any problems, and we come out at the end of the night, we can look up the street and we can see, crowds of people, and they're not dispersed. It's not like if you go into Boston, they come out the clubs, and I don't think you can really hang around in groups like that. They'll disperse them, and maybe that's part of the problem downtown. I'm not sure, but when you guys did have the problem, you had some kind of an all-terrain vehicle down there, and it scared people. If it seems to be the problem that people are coming out hanging around, that's where your trouble is. If they don't disperse and the guys want to lock them up, charge them $62.50, make some money off this. To punish all the good business owners is crazy. It's a bad enough economy as it is. But yeah, it just seems like something that everybody really should think about before they talk about, closing, early, and you get all these other stipulations. People go outside for a cigarette, they can't come back in. That's gonna, that hurts us in every little way, so there's a lot to think about here, I'm sure, But, thank you.
Hello, my name is Suzanne Robertson, and I live on 30 Market Street. I have a right to feel safe in my home. I'm very concerned about the city's policing of the historic district when bar crowds exit between 12 through 3. Even though bars close at 2, there's still foot traffic on the Canal Canal Walkway, the Pawtucket Canal Walkway, till 3:30 on weekends. Extreme noise on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. Aggressive in nature repeatedly occurs with a focus on vandalism. This is increasing on Central Street and on Market Street. On the Lowell Historic National Park walkway behind 30 Market Street condominium complex, the noise is louder and louder, and our windows are being broken, and they cost $300 a pane. We don't have insurance that is at that level of expectation. On March 16th and 17th, 2013, my window and 2 other condo windows were the target for pellet gun damage. Now, my bed is 3 feet from the window that these people walk by. I loved moving to Lowell when I first came. By the second week, I was already confronted with this. I pay $4,000 in taxes, but when I call the police, sometimes they'll come. El Rincon's been the real problem. But also now it's coming from both directions. We worked with our association to get the national park to close 150 feet. They agreed to put a gate on Central, but a chain by the credit union. The kids walk by, everybody climbs over the fence, no one's policing it. When we call the police, they have to first check with the national park because they own the walkway, but they're not on duty at night. Once that is checked in, then the police will come. But it isn't always. We had drunk people walking and break the windows and fall into the condominium that the man owns next to me. And when he called the police, they said, we have other issues around town. This is not life-threatening. I can't take it anymore. The gun damage has been the mark where my health is being bothered. And I am getting sick from this. And I have a right to have some kind of better care for that district. If I paid $360,000 for my condo, where is my importance in this? How many bars are right in that area? 8, 9 now? And that's what's happening. 3:30 in the morning, last weekend, group of 3 or 4 guys coming, every single window, all the way down 18 windows, screaming. Do you want me to scream as loud as they did? I was so frightened, I jumped and called 911, and I remembered I can't talk 911. I have to call the police. So by the time I went and ran for the number, 911 called me back. They said, stay on the line. This is affecting my health. Where am I getting some resolution for living in that area, in that historic district? What are you offering me? And from now on, I may even sit out from 12:30 until 5:30 with a sign to protect my property. I'm sorry, but I'm very upset. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Daryl Deschler. I'm a downtown resident of 200 Market Street, and I'm also the Director of Operations at Savannah Palace, 25 Market Street. First of all, as far as my concern, most of the rules I think are great. I don't have a problem with the majority of the rules. My main concern lies in the 1:15, no entertainment. The reason for that is if we stop our entertainment at 1:15, that means we can't have a DJ, we can't have a jukebox, we can't have a TV, we cannot have any form of entertainment on. All that stuff is covered by our entertainment license. Now we've created a much more hostile environment because it's quiet in the establishment. People can hear each other talking. So if the guy at the end of the bar that normally wouldn't hear the comment that was made about him hears that comment because it's silent, you've just created a fight. Plus, from 1:15, from 1 o'clock till we close, majority of our clientele is on the dance floor. If we stop entertainment at 1:15, all you're gonna do is drive them to the bar. Now they've got a 45-minute span to drink as much as they can possibly drink, and we've only got 45 minutes to judge and tell whether they're intoxicated. A lot of people, it's not gonna hit them that quickly. So by the time they walk out our door, they're completely sloshed, but when they went to our bar, they were fine. We didn't have the amount of time and the ability to determine whether they were getting drunk enough, or getting drunk, I should say, because of the time span that they were at the bar. If I see somebody coming up to my bar all night long, I can keep an eye on him. I can realize, okay, he's had 3 drinks. He's had 4 drinks. Oh, that's it. He can't have no more. But if somebody's there in 45 minutes and bags back 3 shots and 2 beers, they're intoxicated. We didn't know because there was 50 people that came to the bar all at the same time. It's much more difficult for us to keep track of these people if we do it that way. So that's where my main concern lies, is in the stopping of entertainment. I agree with a lot of the other statements of the other bar owners and managers. I just wanted to come down and put my statement. You know, last time I was here, Commissioner Occasion, I think you were the only one that was here. I said, you know, if we have to stop entertainment at 1 o'clock and people have to actually talk to one another, what's going to happen then? The whole place erupted. It's the truth. If people have to actually talk to each other for the last 45 minutes that they're there, it's going to be a melee. It's going to be a mess. You're just causing more problems. Thank you.
Good evening. Corey Belanger, Major's Pub, 197 Market Street. Commissioners, I want to thank you for your time in the last few months. And I know this has been on the agenda. I'm personally well aware of your monthly agenda, but I didn't know these new amendments were on the agenda. So I'll take full blame for that, for not being responsible enough to get online and look at and see that this has been going on. So, but here we are tonight. You know, in the last year, I've made a rather large investment relocating from Jackson Street over to Market Street. And doing business outside the city was not an option, okay? I've doubled in size, I've doubled in staff. And since July 1st, here I am for the second time with my back against the wall, defending myself, forced with new proposed regulations. Where really, hey, I mean, I'm not perfect, we've made mistakes, but we have nothing to do with these issues at hand. You know, neither does, you know, J.J. Boomers on the Boulevard or the 99 Restaurant or Kilkenny Pub on 38. Has nothing to do with this, okay? As the council members alluded to, the neighborhood groups alluded to, there's 1 or 2 problem places downtown, okay? There was a third, they're out of business, there's soon to be a pizza place, and we're hoping they do well. But, you know, these problems that are caused by these 1 or 2 places, not only, they don't bring it onto themselves. What everybody fails to mention is there's residuals that go along where we all feel the pressure, okay? Now, those problems result in negative press, okay? When there's a problem, the newspapers, they need information, they want news. It gets in the paper, problem, big brawl, big fight, whatever it may be, that gets in the paper, it goes to Westford, Chelmsford, Tingsboro, and that deters people from coming downtown, okay? And that affects all of us, so we're all in this together in one sense. So that, you know, isn't fair to us. So we want something done as a license holder as bad as you with these problem places. So you're a newly revamped commission, and I think you've done an outstanding job. We had an incident with one place, I believe a New Year's Eve infraction with no names. You shut them down for a weekend, 4 days. There was no slap in the wrist you gave them. You keep acting like that, you sent the message, okay? Anybody makes a mistake, you're gonna pay the penalties, and that's what it should be, one word, accountability, okay? So there's a combination of things here, but the real reason I think we're all here tonight is the 1 a.m. rollback entertainment issue. That seems to be the big issue here tonight, okay? And I'll tell you firsthand, it's extremely hurtful extremely, okay? Now, when it's up to the establishments to pay the bills, number one, the staff, the door people, it's a trickle-down effect here where that could potentially hurt a lot of people, okay? Now, I suggest you leave it to the discretion of the bar owner when it comes to entertainment. You don't leave it, if I choose to have an entertainment one night and I go too late and there's a problem, shame on me, and then I'll have to pay for that. I'll have to suffer the consequences for that act. I do understand that, but the real thing is, the 1 a.m., the problem is if there's no entry or re-entry, the problem is, I have a nice clientele that comes in after 1 a.m. I know the gentleman on J.J. Boomers, he's a different story. He's a little on the outskirts of town. But in downtown, in some nights, I have a large percentage of business come in after 1, okay? And you know what they're made up of? Downtown co-workers. My friends at Fuse Bistro, who close early. My friends at Cobblestones who come for a drink after their shift, who are great people who are never going to be a problem. Why should I have to deny them? Why should they be denied? So that should be taken into consideration here. So, that's one thing as far as the entertainment. That's my take on the situation, the entry and the re-entry. Other than that, I think we can all live in harmony with the residents. And because it's pretty tough out there right now, guys, with the economy and all, it's not easy. So, but one thing that for the rest of the provisions on the proposed amendments is the 18 plus, okay? I think it hasn't been mentioned, but from the other licensees I've spoken to are firmly against 18 plus shows, and I know I am. I know there's one or two in the audience that do it. I really don't care. I have a livelihood to defend. I suggest you abolish 18 plus right away. There's a direct correlation between problems and 18 plus shows. Direct. Okay, I'm sorry if I'm stereotyping right now, but those are the facts. So I ask you to abolish 18 plus shows. They're root of the problems that lead to the problems, the negative press, which we all suffer for. So we ask that you overview all these amendments, sit back, take a nice glance, and come back in the months, and then a lot more of us can get more involved at these hearings and put our input in, and we can set it up where we punish those who are responsible and not all those who have done things, all the other licensees who have done things right over the years. And I just ask for your fairness. Thank you very much.
Good evening. Robert Manley. I'm actually from Chelmsford. I'd call myself a patron. I'm also the president of Mill City Dart League, which is the largest dart league in the city of Lowell. We operate on Monday and Tuesday nights. I also play darts myself on Wednesdays. One thing I'd like to ask about is the re-entry and the initial entry after 1 a.m. We have a lot of dart players, somewhere between 600 and 1,000 guys and girls who come into this city Monday through Wednesday night and spend their money, whether it be at the bar, at the convenience store on their way home, grabbing gas before they get home so they can get to work tomorrow. It's a lot of revenue pumped through this city. 600 to 1,000 people. We're going to lose that opportunity if our patrons, if our customers, which are also their customers here, cannot walk outside of that bar at 1:05 and have a cigarette and come back in. There are some private clubs that have that luxury that can happen, but it puts people at a disadvantage. If you look at it, you've got a public bar and a private bar. What are you going to do? Where are you going to go? How are you going to have your night? How is it fair to Major's Pub? He wants to have a fun night. Can't really do it if you want to play darts because you might be there till 1:30. If your customer can't go out and smoke, come back in, you're now at a disadvantage. So we've got 600 to 1,000 players that go throughout this city for a nonprofit dart league that donates upwards to $15,000 to $20,000 since 2009 to your residents, to your nonprofit organizations, to your charities, to your people who need help. This is a heartbreaking thing to look at these people who've worked so hard to build a business, and now they're being told, everything you've done for 15 years, we're going to change that. You can't come in. You can't leave. Kind of takes a toll on their business. I, for one, can tell you, I've been playing darts in this city since 2008. I've never seen a police cruiser on a Monday through Wednesday at one event. Not one nighttime event have I had to see police response. Not that they didn't come. They weren't needed. Haven't had to see them once. That says a lot for the amount of time these people spend and the amount of money that they spend in these people's establishments. So that entry and re-entry issue is large. I looked at one of the letters. It stated that you were going to have an 11 o'clock possible closing time. I don't know if that's actually true. Is that not on the table?
Not on the table, no.
Okay, that was a question I had.
Nope.
Was that on the table at one point?
No, the License Commission under Massachusetts General Laws has control of hours of operation between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m.
Okay, so there wasn't a consideration to roll back that time?
Not that we three have considered, no.
Okay. The letter I had seen was very unclear, so I couldn't really figure it out. So I'm just here to say, I understand residents have issues. They have things that they expect and they want, but being out in these bars Monday through Wednesday evening, sometimes Thursday as well, I don't see these issues. And I'm not out there on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so I'm not going to speak to it, but I'll tell you, it's really going to hurt these bars that I see doing their job, doing their business, and still not being able to fulfill the obligation at that point. Re-entry and non-entry after 1 a.m. is really going to kill them. Thanks.
Good evening. My name is Vanakan. I'm the owner of The Crown, 74 Middlesex. It's my dream to open this business. It took me 15 years to save up money just to invest into this business because I want to be in the mainstream. I've been in this country 15 years, and from day one, from non-speaking English to today, stand in front of the fine people here, because I just want to be the American. And I did what I could by the book just to be a part of the business. When I opened this business, I myself become a crowd manager. And yet, every night that we open, we have police details. By 1 o'clock, we close the door, no one coming in, only people out. 1:25, the last call, and 1:45, the lights on. All detail cops there every night, they knew. And by 2 o'clock, everybody across the street. So we did what we could. And I see that the opportunity, that's why I bought the building, just to invest to the city, something that I'm looking forward. And if we cut down the times, I don't think my business will be survive. And yes, I will lose all the investment with toys to the building. And you know, please punish those who didn't do their jobs. I trained my staff from the bouncer to the bartender, make sure that they have what it takes to provide a professional service to the people.
But
So,
correct me if I'm wrong. Exactly what you're doing at your bar is what these regulations are proposed, correct? You just said you don't let anybody in after 1 a.m.
right, only out.
And that's what this says.
Right, but I saw on the website that the decrease from selling liquor.
No, I think, just so we get it out there, I think there was some confusion as to, the License Commission has control of the hours between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. So therefore, the notice said may consider reducing hours to 11 p.m. That's never has been, and as long as I'm here, I don't think will be or speaking for myself, a consideration that this board would make would be to roll the hours back to 11 o'clock. The hours, we're not proposing any change to the hours. We're proposing exactly, or the draft is proposing exactly what you just said you do.
Thank you.
So you're a model for what's going on right now.
Exactly, because from day one, and we brought in the crowd 21 plus, and they're all well dressed, and hoping that one day we're gonna have a limousine drop all the clientele. So that's something for City of Lowell. And I appreciate for the misunderstanding, because I read on the website, it's like 11 o'clock, my business is gonna get killed.
I understand. No, what is proposed is exactly what you're doing right now.
Great, thank you.
No, we'll just well, I mean, if you want to, you can, but
Hello, my name is Dick Capala. I'm
you
the...
can just,
Sir.
you can just let him, just for 1 second.
Yeah.
I think for clarification, we're proposing a tier of licenses, so you pay the full amount that you're paying currently to stay open till 2 o'clock. If you want to buy a license to close at 1 o'clock, which will be cheaper, you can. And then all the restrictions shift 1 hour. If you don't plan on being open till midnight, beyond midnight, you can buy a cheaper license, the restrictions shift. So I think that part of the confusion may be that we'll allow you to buy the cheaper 11 o'clock license with the restrictions shifting with it, but we're not restricting anybody to 11 or 12 or 1 o'clock. It's up to the license holder.
Hello, thank you for having us here. My name is Dick Capala. I'm my wife and I own Cappy's Copper Kettle at 245 Central Street. I've been in business since 1965. Over the years, I've seen a number of incidents happen in the city of Lowell, similar to what we've had here before. For some reason, every 10 years or so, it seems like we have a rash of problems. In past years, the Lowell Police Department, in conjunction with the License Commission, have taken care of these problems. It might take them a few months, but working together, they have taken care of these problems. So I don't feel like there's any necessity to have added-on rules. I think we can function with the rules we have now. Specifically, the going outside after 1 o'clock, my entrance is right onto the city street. There would be no way for me to control my smoking patrons to people trying to get in unless I had hired extra people. And as far as the entertainment goes, people come to my place to dance. If you close down the entertainment at 1:15, my customers are going to leave en masse. So I would propose that we run things the way we have for the last 40 whatever years I've been here. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hello, I'm Kathleen Marson, 200 Market Street. I'm the president of the Downtown Neighborhood Association, and I am the secretary of the Citywide Neighborhood Council. You know, we all pretty much agree. I think Corey maybe have put it best, and Anne Marie. One of the reasons that we're here, realistically, is some of the people that just left, these people don't live downtown. They are the leaders of the neighborhoods all over the city. Right now, they're paying taxes to the tune of $40,000 a year to police one block. It's really not fair to the rest of the city. So honestly, it's just about accountability and it's about enforcement. If the police department really and truly can't take care of one block in the city for less than $40,000 a year, that's where this came from. That's how this whole thing got started. So really, they need to be accountable. All of the owners need to be accountable. If you're looking for a compromise here, I've talked to, I think, everywhere over the, well, maybe not the people are up here. But section 2.02, which right now you have as 60 minutes before closing. You know, right now, just as trial and error and good management, most bar owners have realized that if they don't let anybody in 30 minutes before closing, then they really don't have a problem. So you might want to think about changing that to 30 minutes versus 1 hour. And the same with 2.03. And perhaps Daryl made a good point about continuing the entertainment for a little bit longer after 1:30. But all in all, it's just, Mr. Nguyen was very helpful this week because I looked at the fee schedule and I found it fascinating that there's not two different kinds of licenses for a nightclub and a restaurant. So Cobblestones and Brian's Ivy Hall have the same exact license. So this is tough. This is tough stuff. It really is. But these nice ladies who live on my street, it's hard. And Stephen probably will tell you, there's 100 units of housing in development downtown right now. They're the next 47 people you're going to meet as soon as that building opens. So it isn't fair to all of these wonderful business owners to just, change things completely. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm Stephen Green. I reside at 181 Market Street, and I want to thank you for three things first. Then we'll get into the meat and potatoes. First, for your evening meetings, and I know, having been involved, it makes it a lot easier for us to attend. Thank you for your dedication and your service to the city and the work that you do, and also thank you for all the time you've put on this. This is an important issue. These ordinances are important. Given the choice to support a sort of a draconian set of regulations versus a more reasonable set, I would support the more draconian one, but I think it does do a disservice to the many reputable organizations and liquor establishments downtown. And I want to point out that the development of the downtown has been an important area for the whole city. I am someone who came into Lowell because of the downtown and the development that occurred there almost 10 years ago. And with those 100 units coming on, it's all part of the city's master plan. Liquor establishments are part of that city ambiance, but rowdy liquor establishments aren't. So what you can do to adjust the regulations to address that, if it does need to be a change in the closing time, not closing time, but the time that you allow people in, 1:30 seems to be a reasonable compromise for a 2 p.m. closing time. But I do want to reiterate the fact that the liquor establishments, the many liquor establishments in the city, have been a very good and a responsible part of the fabric of the city. There's just been a few that have been the problems, and as a result, we shouldn't be punishing the good because of the couple that are bad. And thank you for the opportunity to speak.
I'm the other criminal from the speaker before. I just have one question. I'm sorry, my name is Charlotte Ciraldi, and my question is I see the problems, and I understand, and I haven't been involved. I've worked on the Lowell plan. I work for the National Park on historic downtown. What I'm asking the bar owners here, if they close at 2 and people are still coming in, Appleton Mills is where I live, and you hear their loud voices from all the music and everything, walking down Jackson Street, Market Street with my sister, we came here in 2008. What do they do when they leave en masse then? I think they're not understanding the same thing occurs earlier and later. So they're not stopping the later problem by continuing either. But I do agree with the gentleman that spoke before. Rowdy bars are part of the problem. Loud, the volume, it echoes across the canals and it carries. For some reason, it's like a sound thing. It's particularly the Pawtucket Canal, the lower one, on Central, across from 30 Market, and the establishment that's across the street. Other than that, I love Lowell. It was the best move I could have had. To live in a historic building has been a dream since I was a little kid. So I do thank you all. All right.
John Braithwaite, 128 Warren Street. I was in one of the first downtown condos. I've been here about 25 years, and there was a problem with one bar near me. Called the police. The police came, resolved the problem. I think it was like 2 or 3 times before I called the police. But the problem was resolved. I ended up talking with the owners, and they changed the way they played their music, so that way it wasn't disturbing people in my building. So I think the systems works the way it is, and I think it's wrong to punish all because of the actions of a few. Just come down hard on the few who cause problems. Thank you.
My name is John Coles. I'm the director of the Entertainment for the Crown. Just wanted to let everybody know that the 145, stopping the entertainment at 145, doesn't just hurt people that are having DJs and having any kind of live music to 145. It trickles down into the bars where the people actually start from, where they say they go to Old Court and then they move over to Smokehouse, or they go from Brogan's and they come to our place. Those people will not come to Lowell if they know that they're going to stop the entertainment at 145. So they basically will, it'll trickle down.
Just so you're losing me here. 145, I don't think is too bad.
I'm sorry, at 115.
Okay, all right.
Sorry
I'm
about
just-
that, wrong time. I'm suggesting actually like what we're doing, we stop the music at 145, everybody calms down, they walk out and disperse. That's pretty much what's going on in a lot of places. So at 115, stopping the music, as another gentleman said, would probably cause a lot more fights, because 90% of the time when a fight starts, it's usually when the music goes off. People don't have the direction, they don't have their minds concentrated, they have their minds concentrating on what other people are saying. They hear what other people are saying. The entertainment's actually keeping them from hearing what other people are saying and, talking to each other. So I really hope that you guys don't stop the entertainment at 115, and you do at least keep it to 145 so we can disperse everybody. And I do think that even though not letting people in at 1 o'clock, like the new rule that you want to put in, may sound great, and we have tried it, but people do want to walk outside and smoke cigarettes and come back in, and we really do think that they should be able to do that. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else that would like to speak? No? Seeing none, that portion of the hearing is closed. I don't know if the police or the law department want to, Captain Webb or Superintendent Fredo?
Mr. Chairman, I believe the superintendent would like to comment on this issue.
Thank you. A few comments to make, if you don't mind. As I've listened to the very passionate discussion tonight, both from the residents and from the business owners, I would like to remind everyone that since the original incident, and I believe you said February of 2012, sort of brought us all together around these new regulations, the police have intensively staffed and patrolled the downtown. And the figure that is being expended for a one-year time period is $100,000. Specifically dedicated to the downtown. It's not $40,000, it's $100,000 of taxpayer money that's being utilized to maintain the best that we can in terms of maintaining a calm situation in the downtown. I think it's important to understand that since that infusion of money into the police budget, many of the liquor establishments in the downtown no longer hire police officers. Prior to the taxpayer money being used in the downtown, they did in fact hire officers. So we've seen a shift, if you will, from the responsibility of paying for the police presence in the downtown to the taxpayers. And it's important to note that the taxpayers all across the city are paying for this. So I just want to clarify that. The primary purpose for the police department, or our interest, has always been to ensure an orderly and staggered departure from the establishments into the downtown. The system that's currently in place is not effective and it's not working. At 2 o'clock, and you've heard the mention of that, if you will, tonight, at 2 o'clock the doors open and large numbers of individuals exit the establishments in a rowdy manner into the downtown. I wish it was so easy to simply get them to move along easily, but it requires significant resources and a significant amount of time to get those individuals to move along. In the meantime, they're causing disorder and disruption and terror, in some cases, it sounds like, to the residents downtown. So we feel strongly that there needs to be some regulations that would further ensure a staggered, orderly departure from these establishments. It seems to be that the primary focus tonight that we're hearing over and again is the 1 o'clock timeline. I think from our perspective, an adjustment to that time would be agreeable, but still ensuring that there would be some earlier enforcement of entry into the establishment and the music and so forth, the entertainment and the liquor sales. I think that we could be flexible on the time, because that really seems to be a primary concern. Another point, doesn't seem to be a point of contention tonight, but I want to reiterate our stance on the 18 to 20-year-old events, that we remain firmly committed to concerns about events in the downtown that target that particular audience, and having 18-year-old individuals in a liquor establishment where you have much older individuals is just really not a good mix. And they are correct when we have heard that we've had a number of problems occur at those establishments that were hosting those types of events. So I guess that in general terms, those are our concerns. Again, we need something more than what we have now. We need to have, moving forward, we have to have some relief to the taxpayers that we cannot continue to spend this kind of money in essentially a one-block area downtown. I think we can do more to spend less downtown. And I will also say that it's our experience downtown that several of the establishments in the downtown have already adopted, by their own choosing, methods similar to what you're suggesting. Perhaps the timeline is a little bit different, but they do in fact close their doors. They do in fact stop alcohol sales earlier, and they are pretty much there, folks. They don't leave in one quick open the doors and everybody goes out. They walk out and they move out over a half an hour period in a much more less dramatic fashion, if you will. So I guess in general terms, those are our thoughts.
Thank you. Does the law department have any comments?
Just to weigh in a bit on some of these issues as well. I think there might have been also some confusion with respect to the waiver provision. The waiver provision, had it stayed in place, would have essentially meant that all the establishments would have had all of the conditions, both general and special, imposed upon them, and that during the course of the deliberation of the License Commission, through these various hearings, it was determined that perhaps the most effective thing would be to eliminate having waivers and to have special conditions apply only on just that, a special as-needed basis. And it's also possible with these special conditions that people have spoken of compromises, and that perhaps if the time were to be adjusted with respect to a re-entry, given that last call is already at 1:30, from law department's perspective, it would be consistent with that to still have a no re-entry at that 1:30 time. But that in the event that there were problems, and as this commission has already started to do this, have additional penalties with respect to an earlier no re-entry in the special conditions, which the commission has already carved out for itself great latitude, which I think makes an abundance of sense. And the same sort of a compromise could be had with further adjusting the entertainment time, which in its initial round or the second go-around of the 5 hearings, the commission did begin to try to take into account a compromised approach by reaching the 45 minutes, which could perhaps be further adjusted still.
Okay. Christie? Anything?
I think we have a lot to think. Sorry. I think we have a lot to take into consideration, but I also think we need to move forward on these rules. Maybe we take the time to think about these things, and perhaps next meeting we can incorporate changes we see fit, and then pass the rules. Because at the end of the day, I want to pass the rules.
Yeah, I definitely think we have some further discussion to go over a lot of proposed regulations. It is good to see the large crowd of people here and to hear from a lot of the business owners. And our intent was to quell the problems that have been going on in the city with possibly, decreasing the amount of alcohol consumption, which I would assume as a whole, contribute to a lot of the issues that occur downtown. So that was our intent. But we obviously have to take into consideration the business owners and their livelihood. But also we have to take into consideration the community. So we have a lot to think about. And
All right, well, I was hoping that we'd go to a vote today, but I have been not seconded before. But let me, in terms of where I'm coming from here. All right, first, we got emails and letters too, and those all have been distributed to all of us, and we've reviewed them all. There were two motions at the city council meeting, one by Councilor Laurie, to clarify language of 4.02, which is relative to hours of operation. And I think the confusion occurred where it says, after 11 p.m., all patrons are off the premises before closing time. It's the last sentence of the first paragraph. So I would make the recommendation that we take the language that's in our current rules and regulations that reads, a patron of a hotel who is not registered to occupy a private room, or a patron of a restaurant or tavern, or a club member and his/her guest shall not be permitted to be on the licensed premises after the legal closing time for the sale and service of alcoholic beverages to the next legal opening time for the sale and service of the same. And that's the current regulation. I think that does what we want to do. And really, what we were trying to eliminate is that people hanging on some towns, they do this, you can stay on the property till 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. And I know before I was on this board, the city had an issue with that. So I think if we adopted that language, that would make what we want to have happen. And I think it would satisfy anyone that had any questions about what that prior language was. So I don't know how the other commissioners feel about that particular section.
Yeah, I like what you're proposing. The language is awfully lawyerish, but I think we can work our way through it. So I move we adopt that as a change.
All right.
second.
All those in favor say aye. All right. So we addressed that one issue, okay? Now, the next motion was relative to Councilor Kennedy's deleting sections 2.02 and 2.03, and that is the entry and re-entry and the entertainment hours. Now, obviously, that seems to be the issue that everyone here today is focusing on. Yes, relative to the entry and re-entry, when we first started talking about this back in February of 2012, it seemed to be the police department and the law department and many of the residents were representing to us that, there seemed to be an issue with people coming from out of town and going for one or two more last beers in the city of Lowell. So, by not limiting the hours of operation of the bar, but just preventing people from coming in, it would, quell those people coming from out of town. I have a contact at the ABCC that I spoke with on this issue, and he thought it was an absolutely fabulous idea. He said that'll stop the problems in Lowell. There's such a limited amount of percentage of business that comes to the establishments during that time period. It would really ease the burden on the police department. It would ease the burden on the bar owners by kind of letting that staggered amount of people leave the establishment. If more people aren't flooding at 1 a.m., then people will leave, at their own leisure between 1 and 2 a.m. But it seems to me, and I said when we sat here that we were going to have an open mind about this, that the city, the bar owners, and even most of the residents don't want to punish everyone. So I think You know, my intention was, this is a public safety issue. This is people coming in for their last beer, people coming in, you know, to have as many as they can between 1 and 2, and then getting in their car and driving home, or causing vandalism to people's homes, or, you know, I know a lot was made about urinating in the streets. I mean, that's why we were trying to do this, but I know this board already has shown the wherewithal to add conditions to people's license. We've done it just recently, and I think that we will have the wherewithal to do it again. And I think, as Solicitor O'Connor said, where last call, we're not codifying at 1:30 a.m. I mean, there's really no need for anyone to come in at 1:30 a.m. if you can't get a drink. There's no, and I think with Superintendent's suggestion that there would be some compromise, you know, I would propose that a 1:30 a.m. Entry or re-entry would be a good way to start, and that would, you know, no one can come in and get a beer after 1:30 anyways. So this will allow, I think, all the parties to still, you know, prevent people coming in from 10 of 1 and buying that beer, but allow, you know, I know Mr. Petrakis has said that people come down from the Athenian Corner after 1 when they close and come in. These people will still be allowed to come in and get their beer. The JJ Boomers, the people coming from Nashua or the other restaurants coming in to unwind during that last hour will still be able to come in. And I think that that would be a fair and reasonable compromise to these rules and regulations. And if we have a place that we think people are coming in right at 1 o'clock, we have the ability to impose that condition under Section 3.01 on their licenses. So, you know, this is a start, and I know we've already passed a motion that after 8 months we would review it. So I think this might be a good place to start with that 1:30 a.m. entry and re-entry. I think it really addresses the neighborhood's concerns, the bar owner's concerns, the police concerns. It's a good starting point. So I would make a motion that we make the entry, re-entry 1:30 a.m.
I would second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. All right, so we got that issue out of the way.
Entertainment.
Okay, so now we're on to the entertainment. Again, I talked to someone at the ABCC, and they thought it was a good idea, but they also, you know, they raised some concerns, as I think I did back at the beginning. I said, you know, if the Red Sox are playing the Angels on some summer night, and it's in the 11th inning, and all of a sudden at 1:15 you shut the TV off, people wouldn't be very happy. You know, I think some of the issues that we may be having, at least from my investigation, is due to live entertainment.
Live entertainment, yes.
So, you know, maybe we could stop, I'm just throwing out this, you know, prohibit any live entertainment after 1:30 a.m. and all other entertainment shall be off at 1:45 a.m. So that way, everyone, you know, you can still have your TV and your music on in the background till 1:45, but any live entertainment, which is really just a singer or a band, I know it might hurt some a DJ. See, that's the issue, is that, you know, when I say that, I don't consider a DJ to be live entertainment, but I don't know how the other commissioners feel as the DJ. Or the
Yeah, I
police
think that
department.
is the sticking point. I would like to hear from the police department on that issue before I...
If I may, the disc jockeys that are working, the DJs that are working at night, they're not simply playing the music. It is entertainment. They are engaging the audience and everything else. So, I mean, it would be, in looking at some of the events, it was actually disc jockey events or DJ events that we had problems with. So, you know, I know the superintendent, you know, we're talking about it on the sidebar, and we agree with what you're doing. We would probably recommend that DJs be included in that live, you know, live entertainment, and separate that from, like you said, the television and things
Okay,
like that.
so if we said that all DJs and live entertainment shall cease a half an hour before closing, and all background music, television, 15 minutes before closing. I think, again, that may give that staggered time that the police department was looking for. It, you know, if the live entertainment ends at 1:30, you can still have background music, you can still have the TV, but people may at 1:30, when that ends, will start heading out and maybe stagger that time from 1:30 to 1 to 2 o'clock, get half the, or get some of the crowd out before they all rush the door at 2 a.m. I think that may be a reasonable proposal, but I'd be interested to hear what the other commissioners have to say.
I think that's very reasonable. I mean, I was honestly thinking along those lines when we were proposing the regulations to begin with. I really didn't take into consideration a jukebox or television or anything to that liking. So I do obviously understand people's concerns with those types of things, but I do believe that with the intent of creating that staggered time frame where people are leaving and ceasing the consumption of alcohol, I would definitely want to include the DJs in addition to any other bands or the like. So.
Okay, I'll move that we terminate live entertainment, including DJs, at 1:30, all other activities at 1:45, or 15 minutes before.
Yeah, so I guess we should read a half an hour before.
Half hour before, 15 minutes before.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Aye, so moved. So, and I guess going back to the entry, re-entry, it should read a half an hour before closing time, not, I guess I said 1:30, but if someone decides to get a midnight license, it would be a half an hour before closing, and that's everyone's intention.
Yes, exactly.
So, with that, it appears that we've addressed all of the issues that I can see in front of us. I don't know if there were any other issues that were in front of us that people,
I think that's it.
all right, well, I'll make a motion that we adopt the regulations as drafted.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. And I believe they will become effective forthwith, except for the licenses portion of the regulations. The staggered license, that would commence January 1st of 2014. Take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So moved.
So, can we take the rest of the year off now?